Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure for me to be back and to see so many friendly faces. I'm honored to have so many of the leaders of the genetic genealogy community here. Thank you so much. And you are in for a treat. I wish I could say that about the food, but I hope it is good. And I'm going to cover exciting new announcements, features, and innovations that we have released this week at RootsTech. And as usual, I'd like to begin with a personal story, because first and foremost, I'm a genealogist, and I founded MyHeritage at my house 16 years ago out of my passion for genealogy that began at the age of 13. So genealogy for me is, first of all, a personal passion. And I want to tell you a short story that comes from my own family and my own personal research. A few of you may have heard parts of it because I told it for the first time at our Oslo user conference 3 or 4 months ago. But there are some new surprises since then. So I want to tell you about my paternal grandfather, Chaim. And Chaim is one of the main reasons why I picked up genealogy and became so passionate about it. Because after he died, I regretted not knowing him better, and I wanted to learn more about him through genealogy. His name Chaim in Hebrew means life, and his original surname was Pat. But later when he came to Israel, he changed it to Japhet, which is my own last name. He was born in 1900 in Bialystok, a city that was in Russia and today is the 4th largest city in Poland. And he passed away in 1985 when I was 15 years old, and I miss him very much. This is the oldest family photo that I have of the Pat family. And here you can see this young kid is my grandfather, together with his siblings and his parents in the center, who are my great-grandparents, and even my great-great-grandmother. I've been using MyHeritage myself to document the history of my family, and I've been collecting historical photos of the family, thousands of them. I'm particularly passionate about old photos. And I want to tell you a little bit about the incredible life story of my grandfather Chaim. He was a very special person. He was young and idealistic at the age of 20 when he decided to leave everything behind and come to Israel to forge a new life for himself. He believed that Jews have no future in Europe and that they need to create a new life in the Holy Land. So he left his family behind and he came to Israel in 1920. He was penniless and his family were tailors. He came to Israel and they sent him to build the roads in the new country, and he was working very hard building the roads. One weekend, he went to Jerusalem, the holy city, hoping to practice because he loved sports and gymnastics. And he was an athlete in Maccabi Bialystok, the Jewish sports organization. So he asked people in Jerusalem, where can I practice? And they said, there's only one gym in the whole country. And you're lucky that it's in Jerusalem. And they pointed his way to it. When he got there, he started exercising. And everybody was amazed at his skills, and they told him, you must become our instructor. Unfortunately, we cannot pay you, we have no money. Nobody had any money in those days in Israel. So they found a solution. There was a job opening as an assistant gardener, and my grandfather was able to be a gardener at day and be a gym instructor for free at night. And he left the roads, and a new chapter opened for him. Now, thanks to luck and serendipity, A new organization was just formed. It was called the Va'ad Leumi. It was formed to manage the affairs of the Jewish people in Israel. And this was 28 years before Israel was actually established. And where do you have the founding event? In the only hall and gym in the country. So this was exactly the gym where my grandfather was an instructor. And the gardener there was assigned to decorate the hall for the convention. And he assigned the task, of course, he delegated it to my grandfather. My grandfather, being a very talented and able young man, he decorated the hall like it was never seen before in the Holy Land. They wrote about it in the newspapers. And when the organizers and the managers and directors of the Va'ad Leumi came to the hall, they were so impressed by how beautiful it was that they asked, who decorated it? And they said, this guy, Chaim. They called him up to see what other skills he had. And they found that he was literate, he knew about 4 or 5 languages, and they fell in love with him and decided to recruit him immediately to the Va'ad Leumi. And that was the end of his short career as an assistant gardener, as a gym instructor. And he became a secretary initially, and then had a career of more than 50 years in which he was constantly promoted. At some point, he caught the eye of Henrietta Sod, who is the founder of the Hadassah organization and founder of social welfare in Israel. He became her deputy and actually co-founder of all of social welfare in Israel. And he became the director of the social services in Israel in the first Israeli government and then in the next governments. So that was an amazing Cinderella story of a pioneer coming to Israel penniless with only a love for sports and ending up founding social work in Israel. I'm very proud of him. And he used to tell me, if you do sports, you will succeed in life. So I'm trying to follow that advice. Now, for those of us, and all of you qualify, who are very, very experienced genealogists, who have seen it all and done it all, and probably are helping others because you maxed out your personal research, I have good advice that your personal research is never over. There are always amazing new discoveries. And this is exactly what happened to me 3 weeks ago. It turned out that my grandfather Chaim had a picture hanging in his study on the wall that was very dear to him. And when he died and they sold the apartment, somebody packed up the picture and put it in some box and stashed it away. And a few weeks ago, my uncle discovered it. But my uncle is way over 80 years old and not a genealogist, and he could not recognize these people in the picture anymore. So he sends me the picture and he says, do you recognize who these people are? And I said, of course, this is an amazing picture I've never seen before of the family of my grandfather in Bialystok in 1921, sending their love to Chaim, who was in Israel at the time. You see here all his brothers and sisters and his parents. These are pictures, this is a picture I've never seen before. And I don't have pictures of these ancestors of mine for at least 2 more decades. So I nearly cried when I got this picture. And it was such an unexpected treasure after all these years. This picture was particularly dear to me because all the people in the photo that I marked here were killed in the Holocaust. These are brothers and sisters of my grandfather and his mother, who is my great-grandmother. They were all killed 21 years after this photo was taken. And the rest followed the footsteps of my grandfather to Israel and were saved. So this is especially precious to me. But when I zoomed into this photo, I made another discovery. The small boy in the picture is my grandfather's young son, Shlomo. And close to his heart, he was holding a small photo. And since I had that photo, I knew this was a photo of my grandfather Chaim in Israel. And this was the way of the family to show Chaim that he's always with them and always close to their hearts. Thank you. And this is a revelation I made just 3 weeks ago. So the motto is, it's never too late for all of us to make amazing and exciting new discoveries. And with that, I would like to move on and say that touching lives of people, and as Steve Rockwood said in his general session, healing families through genealogy is what is so dear to me in genealogy. And what I enjoy doing the most is reuniting families that were lost back in time and bringing dear family members back together. And I want to share with you a very emotional video in which we reunited not 2 but 3 siblings from South Korea who were living in Sweden and the United States recently. It's really amazing.
I have been waiting for this moment all my life.
I could never imagine how it would become.
I never knew that I had siblings. I have actually dreamt of having siblings.
According to my adoption records, I was born in Gimhae, in the southern part of South Korea. I was raised in Sweden. Then I contacted Swedish and the Korean authorities, but no match was.
Jag kände liksom att mina barn har... Jag liksom ingen som jag kunde liksom berätta liksom att...
But then last Christmas I got this in my Facebook feed, MyHeritage Christmas special. It's like, okay, let's do it.
I ordered a DNA kit from MyHeritage.
To find a full sibling in Maria was more than I could ever hope for.
Me and Henrik got contacted by a girl in USA, Lindsay.
To do DNA testing and be matched with a half-brother and a half-sister. It's just beyond my wildest dreams.
It's amazing.
Completely insane.
I got first Henrik and just 1 month ago, Lindsay. I'm very, very thankful for this moment.
I know that we've missed out on the last 36 years together.
And I want to get to know the whole Lindsay, the whole sister. I was struck by how beautiful you are.
Without MyHeritage, me, Maria and Lindsay would have never met each other.
When people find each other, then they can build their story.
Thank you. So that was amazing, wasn't it? And if you would excuse me for a bit of marketing, I would say that such a global DNA reunion is probably possible only on MyHeritage, because MyHeritage is the most global and most diverse DNA database in the world. Our DNA database today has about 2.5 million people, of which 2 million people were tested on MyHeritage with MyHeritage DNA kits, and 500,000 uploaded their DNA kits from other services, and you can do that for free and get matches for free. And we doubled the size of our DNA database exactly since last RootsTech. Hopefully we'll do it again until next year. And most of our sales right now are actually in Europe. And MyHeritage is the place where you will get the largest number of European matches. All of you with the European ancestors or relatives, make sure that you are on the MyHeritage DNA database. to do more good, like reuniting the 3 South Korean siblings, we launched 1 year ago at RootsTech a pro bono initiative called DNA Quest, in which we donated 15,000 DNA kits for free for adoptees and families who gave up a child for adoption, placed a child in adoption. And that touched the lives of many, and there were many successful reunions thanks to this. Following the success of DNA Quest, and our desire as a company to do good, this is corporate philanthropy, which is very important to me. We have decided and announced today that we are extending DNA Quest, and we're giving out, as of today, 5,000 additional DNA kits for free for adoptees and their families. Thank you. Please help us spread the word. Tell people who might be interested in this, especially people who cannot afford DNA testing, to take advantage of this. Registration opens today and will be closed at the end of April. And then we will select the candidates, send the free kits, and form a waiting list. And who knows, maybe we will extend it again later on. Thank you. We love doing good, and we value the importance of cemeteries and gravestones, the final resting place of our ancestors. And with our partnership with Billion Graves, we set out 5 years ago to do a crazy mission, to digitize all the cemeteries in Israel and photograph each and every headstone in Israel and transcribe them and put the content on MyHeritage and Billion Graves for free. 5 years later, I'm announcing today for the first time that we have completed this initiative. Thank you. And this was a volunteer effort, but we soon found that we needed to recruit full-time employees. We recruited 6 full-time photographers and about 60 transcribers. And we took more than 2 million photos, and there have been 1.5 million gravestones photographed and transcribed on MyHeritage in 638 cemeteries. Israel is now the first country in the world to have all of its gravestones online, searchable with GPS, and for free. What will they do next? So we will continue this in additional countries, of course. A small update about the project to extract DNA from stamps and envelopes. I announced our intent to offer this to our users in our Oslo user conference in November. We are still working on this and perfecting the methodology, so unfortunately I cannot announce availability yet. At the same time, we're also working on reconstructing the DNA of deceased ancestors using data from DNA kits, your data. And by the way, our engineering has hackathons, and in every hackathon, we try to bring fresh ideas. And last hackathon, the team was able to reconstruct perfectly my father's DNA, he is deceased, from the DNA of me and my mother and my sisters. Nearly 95% of his DNA was reconstructed, made into a kit on MyHeritage, and obtaining perfect matches on MyHeritage. So we called it the Necromancy Project. And I hope that you will be able to enjoy and use it before long on MyHeritage. Remember where you heard it first. Thank you. Now I'm arriving at the highlight of my presentation today, a game changer in genetic genealogy, the theory of family relativity. And this is really a brainchild of mine. together with very hard work of amazing people at MyHeritage, with contribution for people too many to mention, but a great team effort. In the effort to bring together the worlds of genealogy, trees, historical records, and DNA in a better way than has ever been done before, and to explain DNA matches using family trees and historical records. Now, first I will describe the problem that all of you are surely familiar with. DNA matches, we love them, we have thousands of them, but most of them are a mystery to us. As experienced genealogists as we may be, I bet none of us has a perfect reconstruction 10 generations back of all our ancestors and then all their descendants, including all the love affairs and all the non-paternity events and all the adoptions. Nobody can do this, but we can always aim for that. So for most of us, actually for every person I know, there are thousands of DNA matches. A few of them we know, but most of them we don't know. And among our DNA matches, there are many of dead ends and brick walls, people who seem quite close to us, people who are very interesting for us, people who are on the branch, we think, that has been eluding us for decades. And we just need to piece together where exactly do they fit on our family tree. And this is what we are trying to solve. If you allow me the use of a religious symbol, as I see it, the Holy Grail, the key goal of genetic genealogy is one simple thing: to understand precisely how you are related to your DNA matches. DNA matching technology, based on the shared DNA, the number of segments, the length of the segments, the size of the largest segment, it will tell you statistically how you're related or what the relationship is. It can tell you that you share DNA with this match, which statistically should be your second to third cousin, for example, or maybe your first cousin once removed. But DNA matching does not tell you the precise relationship path between you and the match. Who is the common ancestor, and how do you get from you and the match to that one or two common ancestors? This is the Holy Grail. And in the past year, we have released several tools, several very good tools, such as the chromosome browser that you guys love, that provide clues that may help you find the relationship path. You can look at trees, you can look at shared ancestral surnames and ancestral places. These are clues that can help you find the exact relationship with your DNA match. However, it's very common that it's not possible and all the clues fall short. So we challenged ourselves. Can we do more? Can we take a DNA match of yours and tell you exactly how you are related to this person? Can we show you the common ancestors, even if they are not in your tree and not in the tree of your DNA match? And can we show you how we arrived at that conclusion? And can we allow you to verify it yourself like every good genealogist should? And now, finally, we can, thanks to the theory of family relativity. I hope Einstein won't mind that I am playing a game of words on his more serious theory of relativity and this lovely photo that I love. So what is the theory of family relativity? It's basically an algorithm, a big data algorithm, that attempts to find a genealogical path between two people who are DNA matches, and it uses all the assets on MyHeritage to do so. All the family trees, all the historical records. And when I say all the family trees, I also mean the wonderful collaborative family tree of Family Search and the excellent collaborative family tree of Genie and the 45 million family trees of MyHeritage. It uses all those ingredients to try to find a theory, a paper trail theory that can explain who the common ancestor is for you and your DNA match, and how you are related exactly to that common ancestor. Behind the scenes, it is doing this magic using what we call a big tree. It's a breakthrough technology that has all 10 billion historical records and family trees on MyHeritage as nodes, as dots on this huge graph. And the nodes are connected as family relationship in family trees and matches, saying that this person is probably the same as that person in another tree. So smart matches between trees, record matches between trees and profiles, and record detective matches between records and other records. All of that is constructing a graph, and the amazing science of it is that we can construct this graph in just a few hours. That's pure magic. Because we can construct it anytime we want in just a few hours, we don't need to store it and we don't need to maintain it. We can generate a new one anytime we want, and it's going to have fresh data. It will not have any stale, deleted information or rejected matches. It will always get better and better and better. And that means that we always store all the matches and how we arrived at all the conclusions. If we had one stored big tree that had everything merged permanently, like one of our competitors have done, then we would lose the capability to retrace the paths and to present to you the exact path and how we arrived at the conclusion. We would not have allowed you, genealogists, to verify the information. And this is what is so special, the shining light of the big tree technology and the theory of family relativity. So how does it work and how does it look on MyHeritage? We will not be able to find a theory for each and one of your DNA matches. But the good news is that it's getting better every day because more people are tested on MyHeritage, more people are uploading DNA data to MyHeritage. The trees are growing at an amazing pace of more than 2 million individuals per day. And we're adding on average several million historical records every day. So all this power means that you're going to get more and more theories for your DNA matches and of course more DNA matches. When there is a theory, we display that on the DNA match card. We will tell you what the estimated relationship with the DNA match is according to the DNA, and if we found a theory, what is the relationship according to the theory. And the first thing you need to check is that the two are compatible, that our theory fits with what the DNA is suggesting. And usually this is the case. Then, when you review the match, you can see a summarized view of the theory. It shows you yourself on one side, your DNA match on the other side, and the precise path to the common ancestor or pair of ancestors. This is an example of second cousin once removed. But this is not enough, because this is the end result. We want to show you how we arrived at that conclusion. So what you do is you click that purple button that says View Full Theory, and then we show you exactly how we arrived at that conclusion. The full theory will always begin with your family tree, and will always end in the family tree of your DNA match. Now, you would say, what happens when a DNA user has no tree? The good news is we need a tree of only one person. And between 90 and 95% of the DNA kits on MyHeritage meet that requirement, which means that you may get theories for the vast majority of the DNA kits that are on MyHeritage. In this example, you can see the full path of the theory beginning in the current user's family tree, going up 2 generations, and then connecting via smart match with another tree, going up to the common ancestors, going down, matching into yet another family tree, and then matching the family tree of your match. We display everything. The quality of the match, you can drill down into every match and to verify it. You can contact every user on the way to check that everything is kosher. The food reminded me. And of course, you can learn more from these family trees, and you can take more information in your tree. So after you verify that the theory is correct, you will be delighted to discover a whole new branch that you didn't have, and you are welcome to add that to your tree finally. And it could be that you were aware of those smart matches, but you were skeptical. You doubted the work of that other genealogist, but now there is DNA evidence that is very, very strong evidence that those smart matches are correct. You can now trust them, perhaps. And you can take the information into your tree, and taking the information, you will be happy to hear, is not automated. You have to do it manually, the good old genealogy way. You guys don't like Giga, garbage in, garbage out. So we don't give you one click, add the whole branch to my tree. You need to add it one by one. But you are rewarded with every theory. And some of you will get theories that you already know about because the path matches what you already know. And some of you will get new theories of new paths that you don't know. Dick Eastman just got a great one after just a few minutes of looking at his theories, and that was a problem that was challenging him for 10 years, solved in a few minutes. Isn't that so? This is one of my favorite theory examples because it traverses, it starts and ends at family trees on MyHeritage, but on the way, there is Genie, there is Family Search, and there is a Canadian census. How about that? The Canadian census, of course, has the household, so it allows us to go up to the father in this case. So how does the technology work? We start from my DNA kit and the DNA match DNA kit. If they are associated to a family tree with even one person, we start climbing up the ancestral path. Remember, we're looking for a blood relationship, so we're not going to traverse any marriage relationship. We're going directly up to the parents. And every time there is a smart match, we remember that, and we continue to go up from that other tree also. So we go wide and up, and we touch all the ancestors along the way, and we color them. We do that with your DNA kit. We do that with the DNA kit of the match. And then we check if there are any ancestors in the overlap, and we take the most recent common ancestor. Sometimes we're able to find multiple ways to connect you and your DNA match, and we will present them to you because people are often related in more ways than one. So we will give you everything we can find and not just one. The magic is that we can find how every two people in the world are connected, all of them. We can find billions of paths in less than 1 hour. This is truly magical. So this is another example where you start with yourself. This belongs to Brent McPhee, the MyHeritage account manager at Family Search. He was delighted to have so many theories for his own research. And in this example that he kindly gave me permission to share, we begin with his tree, we go up 4 generations, we have a match into another tree, we find a common ancestor who was married to 2 wives. On the left side, we have the descendant branch from one wife, and on the other one. And then there is a match to the family search tree, and then that matches the tree of the DNA match. And all of that important information is now accessible to Brent and to his DNA match. So how do you access it and how do you use it? It's been rolled out to all our users, and it's not in beta. It's not in beta because, thank you. Because we've been working on this for 2 years. We have a powerful filtering system. You go to the filters in your DNA match list, and we've added a convenient filter that says has theory of family relativity. You select that, and it will list all your DNA matches that have a theory. Or we've added a banner temporarily for the next month or so. It will appear at the top of your DNA match list if you have a theory, click the button and it will run the filter and show you how lucky you are. What we expect you to do is to validate the theories. And this is the reason why I called it a theory. I wanted to emphasize that this is not gospel. Some theories can be wrong. You are welcome. In fact, you are quite required to validate those theories and to check out the matches. And to do so, we're giving you access right from the full theory to click any of the matches and to see the information side by side. And then you can quickly judge, does it make sense or does it not make sense? We've already received feedback that we have quite too many false positive matches in Scandinavian countries where everybody is called, Jan Svensson or Carl Magnusson. So we will improve the matching so that it will require more criteria. Already, by the way, the theory of family relativity requires matches that have not been rejected by users and have a high confidence level. But we will tweak and improve based on feedback that we hope to get from you and make this better. So there will be even fewer theories that are incorrect. I want to mention that actually most theories are correct because we begin with a DNA match. So these two people are biologically related. The DNA, let's say it says that they're a third cousin and there's a theory that shows that they're third cousins. Even if we make a wrong move in the theory, we probably have another wrong move to get back on track. Otherwise, how would we, if we went astray, how would we end up with a common ancestor of that match? So there have to be two errors in the theory, and that's even more unlikely, but still it happens. So take theories with a grain of salt, although they're pretty good, and validate them yourself. And then you can enjoy the fruits. Sometimes we can explain the same theory with multiple paths. A path is a theory shown another way, but with the same people. Because sometimes we can go through that set of trees, sometimes we can go through gene and family search, sometimes we can go through a historical record, but on the same people. So when we do that, we give you all the paths, and you can perhaps gain more confidence in the correctness of the theory if you can see that it is validated through multiple ways. And sometimes there are two theories with different people for the same DNA match. This is an example from Brent's family, where he has the great-grandfather of Brent and his match were half-brothers, but they married two women who were first cousins. So they are related both on that side and the other side. So they are third cousins and fourth cousins. Don't we love genetic genealogy? And you get that with the theories, and you can understand all the intermarriage of our ancestors. So, how do you use your theories? You go look at them. Don't miss it. You will find some genealogy treasures. Check each one of the theories to see if you agree with it. If it looks good, wonderful. You can add information to your tree and you can rejoice with your DNA match. If it looks wrong, you can either ignore it, or if it's based on a smart match from your tree, you can find that match and reject it, and the theory will automatically disappear. Or if you're spotting an error in one of the family trees along the way, contact that user if you want to be a good citizen and tell them what you think is the correct relationship so that they can improve their family trees. This is what we suggest that you do with your theories. Some people are concerned about privacy, and the good news is that there are relatively few privacy concerns with theories of family relativity. And the reason is they're mostly about dead people, because a theory goes up quickly to the ancestors. It doesn't go down to the living descendants. So very, very quickly, you go up to the kingdom of the dead, where there are less privacy problems. But If there is a living person within the theory, MyHeritage will censor the details. And of course, there will always be two living people, you and the DNA match, where the details are exposed. Because the beauty of DNA matching is that most people use their real names. And those who are very concerned about privacy, they can use initials or other names. So mostly, when you're looking at a theory, no privacy problems whatsoever. But if you are still concerned, if you don't want your family tree to play a role as a conduit, explaining a DNA match between two other people, then you can disable smart matches for your tree and inclusion in super search, and your tree will not participate in theories, but I don't recommend it. You will lose the theories yourself and smart matches, and you won't be such a great genealogy citizen. But you can do it if you are concerned about privacy. So, a little bit about the competition. I have to use Einstein's picture again. Great minds think alike. On the same day, we and our major competitor released pretty much the same feature. But I want to mention that it's vastly different. And I want to explain why I think that our theory of family relativity is superior to the other feature that I wrote its name in red, and I could not resist the pun of calling it through lines in a different spelling. So only on MyHeritage, we allow you to actually view the full path of the theory and to see if you agree or not. We show you all the trees on the way, all the matches. You can check them out yourself. If one of the trees is valuable, you can get in touch with the author of the owner of the tree and take more information from that tree. So we source our theories. And the competing solution does not. It gives you right away the abbreviated view of the path between you and the ancestor. That's it, take it or leave it. And people have noticed mistakes where sometimes their own grandparents were corrupted and replaced with other people. And that is because the competing solution has a static big tree, not one that they can rebuild in 1 hour whenever they want, but one that they built 2 years ago and they are now maintaining. And they lost all the information of where the profiles came from. So unless they clone our technology, this is better. This is better genealogy because we allow you to verify those theories. So it was important for me to explain that significance. I'm very, very proud that we've received so much praise in the last few days since we announced it. People are going wild over the usefulness of this feature. I love this Facebook post, MyHeritage Theory Family Relativity for the win. And people are expressing their delight at the usefulness of this feature. And like I said, it will only get better every day when there is more and more data. So to summarize, the theory of family relativity is a game changer in genetic genealogy. Finally, we're able to integrate the two worlds that have always been first cousins. So that's genealogy and DNA. It harnesses the full power of everything on MyHeritage. All the trees, gene and family search included, and all the historical records. And it has two main areas of usefulness. One, it allows genealogy to explain a DNA match, but it also allows a DNA match to help you validate a smart match or a tree match or a record match. So each of them fortifies and strengthens the other. And please remember, these are only theories. Check them out and validate them. So, a summary of the benefits. You can and you will make new discoveries. They will explain some of your DNA matches. If you are lucky, this is going to bring down brick walls. If you're not lucky, wait. Wait 5 minutes until you get a better ethnicity. Wait 5 days or weeks until you get a new theory. You're also going to discover new ancestors you never knew about. They're not new ancestors. They were your ancestors all along. It's just new for you. Because the theories step outside the boundaries of your family tree And so you will find new ancestors that are not in your current tree. You can save a lot of time, because if you explore the theories, they will point out the matches that are likely correct. I don't have time to review my own 10,000 smart matches. So this can help point my way at the most interesting ones, probably correct, thanks to DNA. You can gain confidence in some of the smart matches that you didn't trust before, or they fell between the cracks and you didn't notice them. And you will get more theories with every day that goes by. Thank you. Second highlight of my talk today is AutoClusters. It's perhaps the hottest thing in genetic genealogy right now. And what AutoClusters are, it's a technology and feature that organizes your DNA matches, your top DNA matches, your closest ones. It organizes them automatically into clusters. A cluster is a group of DNA matches that mostly match each other. This indicates usually that this group of DNA matches have a common ancestor or common ancestors. Now that is a fantastic clue, because a lot of us, most of us, have thousands of DNA matches and we are overwhelmed. But if we could group them into chunks and we can research each one of them at a time, we can figure out entire branches, and we can use the evidence, because if we study the family trees of each member of a cluster, at some point they connect, and we can perhaps figure out that way the common ancestor. And if we recognize one DNA match in the cluster, let's say that's the first cousin of my mother, I already know how I'm related to all the other people in that cluster. So this is a very, very useful tool for understanding your DNA matches. Now, EJ, please stand up. We all have to thank EJ Blum. This was his invention and his innovation. It caught my eye. I got in touch with him and asked him to work with us to integrate this technology into MyHeritage under license, so that people can enjoy it right within MyHeritage, and that we can improve it by having access to the trees and to the segments and to all the other information. I'm very happy that EJ agreed. He flew to meet us in Israel and work with our excellent engineering team. And in no time at all, since there were such good people on both sides, the integration was fantastic, and it's available now. And we've even improved it together with EJ just for MyHeritage. I did not like the part about experimenting with parameters. I didn't want the users to start giving centimorgan minimum and maximum and so on. So what we are doing behind the scenes is we are experimenting ourselves for each DNA kit with all possible values until we figure out the parameters that yield the best clusters, and that's what we pick for you. You just need to click one button and generate it and not waste time on parameters. Thank you. I also had a big personal problem. You see, on the left is my AutoClusters using my kit on family tree DNA. When I uploaded that to EJ's website, Genetic Affairs, because Ashkenazi Jews are so intermarried, it gave me one huge useless cluster where everybody is matching everybody. So we worked together with EJ to put some smart algorithms and improve them so that we can get good clusters. And what you can see on the right-hand side is the same DNA data on MyHeritage, this time clustered properly so that I can research my own clusters. So that is another improvement that you'll only find on MyHeritage. Some of you may have Akkadian ancestors, which will even defeat this improvement, and you might still end up with a big cluster and you need to go and hunt gators if you have nothing else to do. I apologize for that, but maybe we'll figure it out eventually. So how do you access AutoClusters? I made it a strategic goal of MyHeritage for us to be the #1 company in genetic genealogy. I admit, I'm not a big fan of ethnicity. Not a big fan. I admit the ethnicity results on MyHeritage are very disappointing. I'll also give you a teaser that they're going to be amazingly good soon. But I have to keep some stuff for my next year's lunch talk. So I will not blow the whistle entirely on what we are cooking. But I will only say that I value DNA matches more than ethnicity results, and this is where we've put a focus, and this is why you will find a chromosome browser on MyHeritage, and a very good one, and you will perhaps not find it on Ancestry and some other sites. Every good technology that is out there, we will either build it or license it to make it available for you right on MyHeritage. We believe that genetic genealogy is an important evolution of genealogy, and we want to be in the forefront of that. So we created a new area on our website called DNA Tools. This is where we put the chromosome browser, and this is where we put the AutoClusters. Stay tuned, there will be many exciting more tools that are going to be added. So you go to the Tools page, which is another tab right next to your DNA matches and ethnicity. And one of the tools is the AutoClusters. And all you need to do is just click the Generate button. And if you manage multiple kits on MyHeritage, pick the kit that you want and create its clusters. Now, because we wanted this to be ready for RootsTech, the current implementation will generate the clusters, and then it will email the clusters to you. In the future, we want the experience to be more integrated into MyHeritage, so you will not leave the MyHeritage website, you will not get it in email, you'll just go to a section on MyHeritage, you will see your clusters, and whenever you're looking at a DNA match, we will tell you what cluster it is from. You'll be able from one click to get to the cluster, see the other, so make it far more useful. And it's up to you if we're going to do it, because right now everybody's running those clusters, but we want to see that after the excitement comes down, you are still using them. And if you are, I promise to keep improving. So it's really up to you guys. So when you get the email and you open it, you see the AutoClusters chart, and you see some nifty animation. Looks like this, and your clusters magically self-organize. This was done by EJ, and I couldn't resist putting that on MyHeritage also, because genealogy is also fun, as you guys know. So now you get your clusters. Here, what we see in this matrix, on the y-axis and on the x-axis, are your DNA matches, your top DNA matches, usually your top 100 DNA matches, those that are closest to you. Every name that we write on the y-axis is also written on the x-axis, and we are checking in this chart whether each of your matches matches the other ones. So of course the main diagonal is going to be lit up because every person matches themselves. This is like, think of it as a city distance calculator, where you have the cities in the United States listed on the two axes, and the distance between one, and the diagonal says 0, because the distance from every city to itself is 0. And it's also symmetrical, because if there is a match between A and B, there is a match between B and A, obviously. So you're always, we could have given you half. It's always symmetrical. When we show you those clusters, in each of these groups, most of the people will match most of the people. Now this is better than full triangulation, because full triangulation is too greedy. If you're looking at your fifth cousins, you will not get full triangulation between you and 10 fifth cousins of yours that have a common ancestor, because life is a lottery, and each of you got different segments from the same common ancestor, and you and some of your fifth cousins will match each other, but not all of you will match the rest of you. This is the power of the auto-clustering. It forms non-greedy clusters where most people match most people. But even within it, you can look at my dark green cluster. That's a greedy one. In that one, everyone does match everyone. So what do you do with this? You look at the members of each cluster and you try to sort things out. If you're lucky, you will recognize one of those DNA matches and you would know how you're related to that person. If you know your connection to one in a cluster, you've pretty much figured out the whole cluster. If you have a mixed ethnicity, let's say that you're half Jewish and half Scandinavian, then your clusters will tend to form by ethnicity, because your Jewish side will not be blood related to your Scandinavian side. So these are also ethnicity indicators. And what we invite you to do is to try to identify each cluster. And some clusters will be more interesting for you because they will be on the branches that you care more about. Then you can focus on them and you can view those trees of the members in the cluster and figure things out. Get in touch with them, collaborate with them, and figuring out. It's much easier to figure out this problem of how these 20 people have a common ancestor than one by one, looking at your thousands of matches. Below the chart, we will also show you a list of your clusters, and you can click any tree and view it, or get in touch with any of these people. Both features, theory, family, relativity, and clusters, are premium features. You need a subscription. But if you upload a DNA kit, you can pay a one-time fee of $29 and unlock those features. And I have very good news for many people. If they uploaded the kit before December 16th, we've decided to grandfather all of those kits. And thank you. Because, you know, when we had the upload, we promised that it was free, and we didn't feel good about starting to charge, even for new features. So those who uploaded before December 16 are very lucky. They'll probably get new stuff for free as well. But if you have many DNA kits, just get a subscription, and you will help us pay the bills and fly me to RootsTech every year. Don't hesitate. So to summarize, and to end my talk before you can rush to your next session, AutoClusters will group your DNA matches into groups that follow common ancestors. We are proud to be the first major DNA service to offer this feature built in. We pledge to continue to bring important features into MyHeritage. AutoClusters complement theory of family relativity because they work even when there are no trees. They are purely based on DNA. If there is a theory of family relativity, great, but if there isn't, you can use the AutoClusters as another tool. Study your clusters, figure them out, collaborate with the users, and if we see that this is in high demand, we will keep improving this. For example, we will show you for each cluster the most common shared ancestral surnames and places, make it easier for you to figure it out. So, thank you all, and thanks for coming. Now, because we don't have time for public questions, I'm going to make myself available outside for the next hour. Everybody is welcome to just walk up to me and give me feedback and ask whatever questions. Thank you and enjoy the rest of RootsTech.